Rivers of London is the first novel in the series of the same name by English author Ben Aaronovitch. The novel was released on January 10, 2011 through Gollancz and was well received by critics, earning a Galaxy National Book Awards nomination for Aaronovitch in the New Writer of the Year award. Plot: the novel centers around the adventures of Peter Grant, a young officer in the Metropolitan Police, who, following an unexpected encounter with a ghost, is recruited into the small branch of the Met that deals with magic and the supernatural. Peter Grant, having become the first English apprentice wizard in over 70 years, must immediately deal with two different but ultimately interrelated cases. In one he must find what is possessing ordinary people and turning them into vicious killers, and in the second he must broker a peace between the two warring gods of the River Thames and their respective families. Characters. Characters introduced in this novel equals, Police Constable Leslie May, an officer in the Metropolitan Police who, having completed her mandatory probationary period, is expected to go far. Police Constable Peter Grant, an officer in the Metropolitan Police who, having completed his mandatory probationary period, is expected to do paperwork. Inspector Neblett, Peter and Leslie's shift commander and line manager at Charing Cross Police Station. Detective Chief Inspector Thomas Nightingale, head of the Folly and the last officially sanctioned English wizard. Dr. Abdul Haqq Walid, world-renowned gastroenterologist and cryptopathologist. Detective Chief Inspector Alexander Sale, the SIO of the MIT assigned to investigate the death of William Skirmish. Detective Sergeant Miriam Stephanopoulos, DCI Sales Case Manager. Augusta Coopertown, Danish expatriate living in Hampstead. Brandon Coopertown, her husband. Molly, the Follies' domestic helper, of unknown species. Mama Thames, goddess of the River Thames. Beverly Brooke, daughter of Mama Thames and goddess of a small river in South London. Frank Caffrey, LFB fire investigator, ex-para and a key associate of the Folly. Father Thames, also known as the Old Man of the River, god of the River Thames, or at least the bits above Teddington Lock. Oxley, one of the sons of Father Thames and his chief negotiator. Anna Maria de Berg-Coppinger, also known as Assis, wife of Oxley. Cecilia Tyburn Thames, also known as Lady Ty, another daughter of Mama Thames and goddess of the River Tyburn. Deputy Assistant Commissioner Richard Folsom, a highly placed ally of Lady Ty. Fleet, another daughter of Mama Thames, goddess of the River Fleet. Lee, the senior-most daughter of Mama Thames and goddess of the River Lee. It's strongly implied that she predates Mama Thames but as a tributary of the Thames has accepted her authority. Brent, a nursery-age daughter of Mama Thames and goddess of the River Brent. Ash, a son of Father Thames and god of the River Ash. Richard Lord Grant, Peter's father. Isaac Newton, the founder of modern magic. Henry Pike, vengeful revenant actor, formerly of the Theatre Royal, Covent Garden. Cover artwork. The Gollancz cover is based upon a detail from Stephen Walter's artwork The Island. The American edition of the book shows a figure in silhouette carrying a gun in one hand, with a ball of fire floating in the other. Earlier editions of the cover showed the character's face in photographic detail, but a later version reduced this to a silhouette. This change drew criticism for appearing to intentionally disguise the fact that the book's protagonist was black, and Del Rey later changed their cover policy. Having adopted the UK-style Walters covers for the release of Whispers Underground, have announced that new editions of Midnight Riot will match the British cover. Background. The novel draws a great deal on the historical and mythological background of London and the Thames Valley. The rivers some of the characters are strongly associated with the River Thames and its tributaries. Most prominent after the Thames itself include Beverly Brooke, Lady Ty, Oxley, Lee, and mentions are given to the Ifra, Ash, Brent and Crane. Reception. The novel was well received, with reviewers citing Aaronovitch's juxtaposition of the magical and the mundane and his storytelling prowess as the novel's main attractors.
Writing for the Morning Star, Matt Coward stated, of Aaronovitch himself, "He can really write, with a light touch to his humor and characters that really stand out." And followed this with "This novel is a pure delight and I can't wait for the next in the series." Fellow writer Sam Downing praised the novel's humor and characters and found it one of those unregistered trademark at the office already. "I wanna keep reading noir-style books." The novel was also well reviewed by Saxon Bullock of SFX, who awarded it 5 out of 5 stars and stated the novel was witty, imaginative and gripping. Rivers of London is a great example of how it's not always about having an astoundingly new idea. Praising Aaronovitch's knowledge of London and his fresh and clever approach. Rivers of London was also well reviewed by Fantasy Book Review, with reviewer Joshua Hill stating Ben Aaronovitch has written a book that never left me disappointed in the choices he made as author, nor in the choices of his characters. Referring partly to the characters' subdued reaction to the supernatural, which is uncommon in this genre. He further states that all in all, you have to read this book. Whether you like good writing, good fantasy or urban fantasy, good characters, or simply a breathtaking story set in a breathtaking world, this book is for you. The novel did not, however, receive universal praise. Writing for SF Reviews, Thomas Wagner awarded the novel 3 out of a possible 5 stars, stating that the more frenzied and harrowing the action becomes, the more it feels exhausting and excessive rather than thrilling. And citing the novel's inconsistent tone as another detractor. Tempering this, however, he does describe the novel's plot as surprising and imaginative, and the novel as a whole highly energized. In a review for Londonist, Matt Brown found the plot to be unbelievable, stating that emotion is almost entirely absent. And quipping, "If you are unregistered trademark free looking for a deep novel, this is more trickling Walbrook than Mighty Thames." He does, however, also praise the book's pace, ingenuity and creativity. The unabridged audio recording of the novel, read by Cobner Holdbrook Smith, has been very well received and has been shortlisted for the Crime Fest Award 2012. Foreign editions, as well as the American edition, Rivers of London has been translated into a number of languages including French, German, Italian, Spanish, Polish, Hungarian, Portuguese, Japanese and Czech. References. External links, official website, The Island by Stephen Walter.